In contrast to doing clouds as line and movement, today I'm working on my second page of clouds, and I'm going to be working on clouds as masses. There's a couple good lessons in this book about using the least amount of outline, where the light direction is coming from, working in the dark from underneath, having a medium tone in the middle, and cutting in the sky to make the edges look a little ragged. So I'm going to try something like this today. I took this little square on my journal page. This is my Jane Davenport canvas journal. And what I did earlier was I took the palette of gouache that's been sitting here for about a week now. I took some of the blues and reds and a little bit of the white and green and just made a neutral gray in the middle by just mixing the colors that are already on here, and painted this gray to get a medium tone. And I am going to use these Sktchy crayons. I have a set with some sepia, black, white Sktchy crayons that I think I've used too much. So I'm going to take the white and the black and use this neutral gray as the mid-tone and see if I can construct a cloud with masses. So I'm using some Sktchy crayons on the gray gouache. The Sktchy crayons are a little bit like pastels but harder. The white didn't come out quite as white as I wanted it to, but that was okay. The Sktchy crayons have a sharp square edges, which is supposed to make them easier to use in sketching, like if you're doing life drawings or gesture drawings. Just kind of blending in the white and the black towards the middle, trying to keep the neutral mid-tone gray in the middle. I go slowly, try to put in a little darker dark and a little whiter white. You have to be careful about making the outlines, which I'm doing right now, making some outlines, but I'm going to be blending those out again in a few minutes. I just wanted to mark where the edge of that section of cloud was going to be. Sorry my head keeps poking into the video. I was trying to get a different view from the cloud. And that's one thing you're supposed to do is top of the cloud is, look from above and paint down, and the bottom of the cloud look from below and paint up. So I was moving my head up and down to try to do that. You can also take artistic license and make the sky a little darker behind the lightest part of the cloud and a little lighter by the darker part of the cloud. So I sprayed the cloud with some fixative, and then I went on to do the top thumbnail. And this is going to be a mountain, a landscape with a lofty mountain and a few little scraggly pine trees in front of it. The lesson for this thumbnail was that when you're studying the horizon, clouds have a horizon just as the land has a horizon. And if the land is low, the horizon on the cloud should be above the land horizon. But if the land is high, if you're looking up, like at a mountain, then you can put the base of the cloud behind the mountain, and this makes the mountain look even taller. I'm using the Derwent Graph Tint pencils and some plain water and a brush. This is a very quick landscape to do. This was good practice if you do some field sketching and you want to quickly just get in the mountain, a few trees, and the sky. This would have been a good practice for that. I think the cloud that I did with the Sktchy crayons is probably a better practice if you're going to do something in the studio with paint or pastels. Going over the colors again with the Durant pencils. I have to dry it in between because the sizing on this paper is not very good and it doesn't allow you to work into the wet paper. It just kind of falls apart a little bit. Again, making the darkers dark. Trying to get a little contrast next to the whitest part of the cloud by making the sky a little darker behind it. The Derwent color's a little duller than the Inktense colors. Now I'm going to do my journaling, 30 pages, 30 days. This was page number 19 on March 19th. And I was using thumbnails to practice for larger art pieces. And these are my lessons on clouds. To make your subject appear lofty, put the cloud base behind it. The best way to paint the cloud is to block in the masses of light and dark and avoid outlines. I'm going to make a few more notes on the page. One will be that I'm using the Derwent Graph Tint pencils for the top sketch and the Conte crayons on the gray gouache for the bottom. Anything that hides part of a cloud must be high, and don't forget the light source. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.